So we've looked at how Croatian house prices have exploded and how that's made it nearly impossible for young people to get into the property market in Croatia. The big question now is, where is it all heading? Are we on the verge of a property crisis, or is actually a window of opportunity? So let's start with the fundamentals. The latest stats, 2023, showed that Croatia had 19 million tourists with a population of 3.8 million. That's 5 times. Tourism's booming, and that brings in cash, foreign buyers, and short-term rental pressure, especially along the coast. At the same time, the economy's growing and interest rates are pretty low. Demand from locals and internationals for housing is strong. So on the surface, that all sounds positive, right? The problem is the system just can't respond to that demand. There's a huge shortage of housing. Now, there's also land that's not accessible. State-owned properties are sitting empty. And there's something else not many people are talking about, is that there's private housing has become uninhabitable, some big blocks of apartments. So back in the 90s, a whole lot of people were given the apartments they were living in. This was when communism ended and they privatized all the housing. But many of those people don't have the money to maintain the houses. So you've got these old apartment buildings split up between a whole lot of different owners, and no one can agree or afford to keep them in shape. So some of the buildings have actually got so bad they're now empty. There aren't enough developers here in Croatia either. That's another problem. A lot of them went bust in 2008 and they haven't been replaced. Who would have thought not enough developers would be a problem? And instead of fixing the supply issue, the government's introduced new taxes on property. And as we know in New Zealand, taxes don't build houses. So prices keep on going up, affordability is going down. Locals, especially the younger ones, are just locked out. Another problem, Croatia's birth rate's sitting at 1.53. You need 2.1 just to maintain the population. So the country's shrinking. And I mean, it's no surprise. If you can't leave home until you're 33, when are you going to start a family? So where does it leave us? If you're a builder or a developer or an investor with a long-term view, it could actually be one of the best opportunities in Europe, because eventually Croatia will have to unlock the land. They'll have to streamline the building process, update the planning rules, deal with the housing shortage head on. So the pressure will force change. It just has to, right? So it could go sideways, but if the government make the right moves, then this could turn into something really big, right? So if they start freeing up land, making development easier, who's going to be there and ready when it happens? Well, that was part 3 of 3 of my Croatia series. I hope you found it interesting, and maybe it got you thinking a bit differently about, what's going on in other countries. Thanks for watching.